Today let's talk about the variable types within Free Pascal. In this tutorial I just want to concentrate on the basic types and their declaration inside Pascal application, and later on in another tutorial I will talk about those complex types which can be let's say defined from these basic ones. So like in every programming languages in Pascal, you also have of course the different number types, booleans, strings, character types, enums, sets, or any others what we can call basic types. Within Pascal, like in many earlier programming languages, you were much more closer um, to the machine language or the machine code. So basically, the programmers or who were defining these program languages or programming languages, they were making a difference between the size of the values, and basically the reason was because at that times the computer memories were very limited, and because of this you had to take care about the size of the variables as well. Nowadays this is not that much important, but of course if you want to be, so if you don't want to make too big programs or memory consuming programs, you can of course still consider to work with these different size of variables, and it makes sense because sometimes you don't need a huge integer number or a huge real, or if you just want to store few characters, then you don't need a string with a capacity of I don't know, 60 kilobytes. So um, considering these, of course, this makes sense that you have different sizes of the variables. So if we are going through, let's start with the integer types. So the integers are definitely values which doesn't have any fractional part. So each number is either from 0 to something, or from minus something to plus something, and these are always whole numbers. So I put together here in this remark field, let's say, the different um, types, let's say different basic types, and let's start with the integers. So in the integers, as you can see, you have many possible selections. So you can have a byte. Byte, I think, is very clear for everybody that it can be a number between 0 to 255, so that's a byte. The short is also a byte size integer, but from minus 127 till plus 128. So basically it's also stored on a 1 byte value, but when it is represented, then it will be from minus till plus. So we can say that the byte is an unsigned and the short int is a signed byte size value. All the rest is basically, as you are going through, are just the different sizes. So if you stored originally on 1 byte, and for the small int or word you are storing it on 2 bytes, and so on. So the int 64, as the name is suggesting it, it's basically a size of 8 bytes, and as such that's more or less the biggest number what you can store. Of course, again, all these are always like can be unsigned or signed values. So the int64 is an unsigned version. The Q word is the signed version. So there it's also stored on 8 bytes, but it's starting from a minus value and goes until to a plus value. So when you are considering to use these numbers, you should decide, if you can have minus numbers, or you can just have numbers from 0 to something, and then to define those like this. The only exception here within the integers is the integer, which is not or it's not exactly defined from the beginning what it will represent, but it can be either a small int, or it can be a long int. So uh, it will be an unsigned value, but during the use, it will be representing either a 2 bytes or a 4 bytes size. The next type is basically, we can consider them also as integer types, but very special integers, because these are again similar, like the integer numbers are stored on different sizes. And here, as you can see, we have Boolean values, and actually the number behind the Boolean is showing that on which size it is stored. And we have the byte bool, word bool, long bool, and q word bools, which are also Boolean values. The only difference between these 4 plus 4 types, that however, or while the Boolean values are representing a 0 and 1 as false and true, till the byte bool, long or word bool, long bool, and q word bools are having a 0 as false value, and any other number is representing the true value. Honestly, I never really met with these ones, because these are very special and typically just used in very special cases. But of course, you might have a situation where you want to present something as false or true, like this. Okay, real numbers again. These are, of course, numbers where not just actually the fragments behind the dot is different, but also the size. So actually the precision of the real number is different in these cases, and also that how big number you can represent with these variables. So the biggest one is the currency type, where you have a really huge number can be represented. Enums are values where you don't really store numbers, but you store, I would say, names. So if you, for example, have enumeration of for example, fruits or different foods or different vegetables or whatever, you can list them by names, and for these names, the system is also linking a value. So when you are presenting a value with 1, this might be an apple. If you say 2, then it might be peach or something like that. So with these things, you can list days, for example. So you have from Monday to till Sunday the names of the days, and when you are using these, then you can let's say convert it to a numerical value. The next one is the character types. So there are two basic types, ANSI cars and byte cars. The ANSI cars are basically a 1 byte character size, The wildcards are 2-byte character types. So like typically ANSI characters are let's say the basic tables for letters and numbers and different signs, and with the wildcards are typically the UTF 16 characters are represented. And of course, here it depends on which character table you are using. Either the system character table is used, or you can define which character table you would like to use for this. Actually, when you are presenting a string from these characters, then it doesn't really matter. The only important thing is if you want to refer to a character by its character code, then of course depending on which code table you are using, the number can be representing a different character. So you need to know exactly which character table you want to use. And then based on these character types are also used here the strings as basic types, because I would say that when you are programming, then you typically want to have inputs and outputs with numbers and strings, and for the strings, of course, you are using the characters, so the strings are of course depending on or based on characters, but the strings themselves of course longer character sets. So you have here, or I mentioned here, three string types, but there are a bit more. I just don't want to confuse anybody with these, that what these strings are, let's say, or how these strings are used. These three basic ones I listed here because if we start with the first one, the string itself, the basic string can be only 255 characters, and this one is because the basic strings, or Pascal strings, let's say, stored on a way that the first or the first character of the string, which is, if you refer to the character position, the position 0 is the length of the string. And because each character is stored on 1 byte, you and also the string length can be only just 1 byte. You can't store with this string a longer string than 255 characters. The Unicode string is a bit different, because this is more closer to the C-type zero terminated strings. So here the basic thing is that you store the string on a wildcard base, so you have 2 bytes per character, and then that's represent the string. The pcar string is actually not really a string itself as it is, but it's more a pointer for a character set. And as such, in this string you can store as many characters as you want. Of course, there are limitations, but in a normal case with the pcar, you can store a much longer string than the 255 characters. Okay, so these are basically the basic types within Free Pascal. And now let's see how you can define these variables, or these types in the application. So let's define some constants and variables based on these types. I'm starting here with the enums, because the enums are a bit special from this point of view. So enums you can define like types. and because you have a certain structure within a Pascal program, we should start here with the type definition. So an enum can be defined like this, that you give a name to the type itself, and then you define that which values are expected for this type. For constants, the integer and basically for any definition as a constant, uh, you need to use the equal sign instead of using the colon and the equal sign for the assignment to a value. So when we are talking about a constant, then the let's say the name of the constant, or the variable name of the constant, which will not be a variable of course, should be let's say followed by the equal sign, and then with the type what you want to use, or in this case if we want to have an integer number, then we need to have a whole number behind. If we want to have a real number, like for the b, then we have a fractional value behind. Then for a character, we can define the character with the character function, and here the space character is assigned to this constant value. And for a string, you just simply have to put a string inside the apostrophes, and then it's considered to be a string. Of course, you can also define the type of the constant itself. So if you want to say directly that this is a byte value, then you can define it like this, and of course you can do it for the others as well. But it's not necessary. So the system is basically identifying this value, or this constant type itself, based on what you assign to it. If you want to define a variable, then it's recommended that the variables are also let's say initialized at the beginning. So if you are defining a variable, then it's recommended to put a number behind it. So I put here 128, but if you say that it's a 0, then it's you can be sure basically that if you use the first time this variable in your code, that the value what you will get is a 0. If you don't make this initializing itself at this stage, it is not a big problem, but you need to make sure that before you read this variable, it's initialized somewhere. Otherwise, you might get a random value within this. The same for the real values. So here you need to have a fractional behind. It can be 0.0 as well. With this representation of the number, the system will know that it's a real value. And of course, based on the type definition, the size of this variable will be also defined. So now the enum values can be initialized, like if we talk about days, we give the type as work days, and we initialize it with a Monday. Strings are the same like for the constants. So here we can say that the name 2, and then let's say that this is a string, or can be other version of string, and typically you let's say have a const or a initializing value as an empty string. Okay, so basically that's it, how you can define variables. The other thing is that of course with strings you have the chance to define the length of the string differently, and also as I mentioned that for string values or character values you can also use the code table. So what code table you want to apply to this, and of course as mentioned before that the normal or a simple string variable using the string as a type can only contain 255 characters. But if you just need for example, I don't know, like phone number, and you want to define it as a string, and you say that this string can only be I don't know, 13 digits or 13 characters, then you can define it like this. So in this case the string length will be not longer than 13 characters. So using this way of defining the string variable is basically saving space or saving memory for you when you are creating your application. And instead of storing every single string on a 255 characters, you basically limit it to 13. But in this case, of course, you need to make sure that what you want to enter into this string is not longer than this, otherwise you will get a failure message. One more thing what I should mention here at the variables or the basic types usage in Pascal, that inside an application or a program you have global variables or global constants, and you can have local ones. So all these definitions, like for the constants and variables, can be within this main program stage, or if you use procedures or functions, then within a procedure, and now I'm not defining anything here, you can still define again constant constant, and you can have variables as well. And if you define something here like a or here like C byte, let's say 5 now. So these variables which you define within the procedure, these will be local variables. So whenever you leave the procedure, then these variables will be gone, will be deleted and removed from the memory. So you just can use them within this begin end statement, and you cannot let's say keep their values for the next run. So every time you run the procedure, even if you don't make the initialization here, just define the type and the value itself, you will not get back the previous value when the first time this procedure was running. So you need to make sure, of course, that you what you are using inside the procedure, these are not usable outside of the procedure. So not even in the main application. Those ones need to be defined on the global level, like here, and then of course you can pass it to a procedure, and you can even define within the procedure definition that you want to get back a variable from or a value from the procedure, or even more variables from the procedure, and that you can define within the procedure definition. And then of course what you are let's say linking to these values, or what you were linking when you called the procedure, then the values are, let's say, shared with the other part of the application. So this is what you need to consider when you are defining your variables, and when you want to use them. So that's all about the basic variables and for this tutorial. And if you liked it, please don't forget to subscribe for the next one, where I will talk about more complex variables, or more complex types like records, arrays, and more complex kind of types what you can use within a Pascal application. So with this, I wish you happy coding, and see you next time.